What is going on, everyone? Parsnip here, and today I want to go ahead and work on a house on Maplestory 2. Now, I know it's been a while since I did make a video. Sadly, I have been super busy with work and things like that, and I'm not really sure when I will be making another video. Hopefully, I start picking up the pace and start releasing videos weekly or something along those lines again, but no promises. Now, for this video, I wanted to go ahead and experiment on a new house. I have made a house or two before on Maplestory. However, it was nothing special and I was pretty much learning how to make it. Now, there are a couple of things that I would like to advise since I do not know where everything is. For example, on Terraria, if I want something, I know exactly where to get it. On Maplestory 2, it's a whole different situation as I don't know the names of things and stuff like that. So it does take a long time for me to find stuff or figure out what exactly I want. Another big issue that I did notice on Maplestory, of course it's not a building game or anything of the sort, so it does lack a lot of materials, furnitures, and things of the sort because, well, either it's one, it doesn't exist, or you have to pay to get it. Or there's another situation where it's unlocked, but it's very little amount of things. At least the stuff that I notice is actually unlocked, and a good portion of it you can unlock it freely just by playing or crafting and things like that. So if you do notice a lack of furniture, or if you wondering if you can do exactly what I'm doing, the answer is pretty much yes, because I did not pay anything to get furniture yet. So all of those furnitures or items that you can unlock with merits I do not have, so I do have to sadly work with what I have pretty much. And another issue with this build, just something that was a mistake by my part, is I wanted to have this farm that I'm putting here on the side for now. Originally I was gonna have it here, but I did not like the aesthetic. I think the farm ruins the whole thing, so my idea was to put it beneath the house. I would slowly raise the levels and then the farm would go underneath. However, I did not make it high enough, so the only way while you're playing can go down is if you zoom in pretty close on your character, but towards the end I'll go ahead and show you guys that. Now, for this build in particular, I wanted to go ahead and make something a little bit mixed up with reds and oranges. Not really ideally what I wanted at the beginning, because I did not know, but a couple of the blocks that I did use are actually blocked. They're not free, and once I placed them only towards the end, I noticed, for example, those yellow ones right there, I only have like 12 or 13 of those. And towards the end I actually noticed that, and I had to make do with what I wanted, or with what I had, because I didn't want to go removing and then changing the style or things like that. But at the end of the day, I think it looks great and it works out really well. So here you guys can already see some of the sections of the house that I'm working for. The idea here was for me to have the main house, and this bottom section that I'm working on now would be the farm. So the highest part of the house, not the highest part, but the highest floor level is pretty much the one right above this farm. And this is what I was referring to before, where you can't actually zoom down once you fill the whole thing up, especially towards the back. I tested it with that little bit of wood on the top and I figured, alright, this is gonna work. But then when you add the grass and the red, it actually does not work that well. So sadly, that was my mistake. You can still access the farm and you'll be able to see me access it at the end and things like that, but you have to be zoomed in pretty close. Now, another thing that you guys will notice in the future is that I did not go all white. And I'll talk more about each room individually while I build them, but I did decide to make one room brown, and aesthetically it did not work that well, but I left it anyway because I'm gonna have to redo a whole different house because of this farm. It's just not that practical. But yeah, you know, I've been pretty much playing Maple for a good amount of time now. I think I'm like at 60 hours or something along those lines, and I've been taking it pretty slowly. I'm actually only level 40 something, and in those 40 hours, I haven't just been leveling or grinding. I've been doing a lot of things. I've been playing a lot of music. I've been chatting with people, doing the mini games, exploring. I actually recently, which was Saturday, this Saturday, I went ahead and was exploring the map and trying to achieve those little yellow stars. So a lot of the things that I have here, there are actually upgradable versions that, again, I recently just discovered. For example, the anvils and things like that. If you're crafting, you can get cooler looking ones or better ones, like better experiment tables or bigger ones and stuff like that. And in the future, once I have unlocked everything, I'm not too fond of wasting money to buy furniture. I think it's probably one of the smaller things you can waste. By no means is this game pay to win, so that's great, especially coming from an Exen title. I'm sure everybody was surprised by the fact that, at least up till now, from everything I've done, I have not noticed anything really pay to win. And it's just been a huge blast. I'm actually super happy with the game. I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to do a lot of things early on. So what would normally happen when I'm playing MMOs is I would go ahead, I would grind, I would try to keep up with everyone, and in a week I would probably reach max level, and then within a month I'd be burnt out of the game. And sadly, I think that the MMOs as of right now is pretty much, at least the games that are coming out are pretty much dead. They're boring. To me, they're boring. I think they lack something. They all lack something. Recently, I was playing, not recently, but when Blessed Line came out, which I'm sure a lot of you did try to play, you probably noticed that, well, it flopped. You know, it just wasn't as good as we expected. And I think Maplestory did something that's really good. Is it's casual, but it brings you in enough, and it has enough things to do where you can actually waste a good amount of hours doing dungeons and stuff like that. I haven't done the hard dungeons yet, but I have heard that you actually do need like a priest, and you actually gotta have a good amount of gear and stuff like that. So it does have a little bit more of a hard aspects. I also heard that there's gonna be raids, which will be even harder, and I'm actually looking forward to that. But again, until I get there, I'm just gonna cruise slowly, you know, enjoy the game while I'm at it. I wasted a ton of time on this house. For those of you that don't know, I get distracted easily when I'm building, and in particular this one took over 5 hours to make. That's why the video is so long. I was gonna make it shorter, but I started to notice that if I made it faster, like let's say I made it twice as fast, and instead of a 16 or 17 minute video, you guys had it like in 8 or 9 minutes, you probably would have a seizure or something. It would look like we were having a seizure while building. You just can't really tell what's going on. It gets to the point that I'm teleporting too much or things like that. But I will try to fix that in the future. I don't really want to be doing videos in 2 parts. I don't think that's really fun, especially for you guys. And yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about the house. Now the house, there's not much to talk about. I am gonna have to redo it as my main base, sadly, but I really did like the red and the white scheme. So the whole idea was to make the outside parts of the house, like imagine gardens, or like the house is built in a forest or something like that, to have like that autumn feel, you know, those oranges, those yellows, the red. And I think that looks really good. I do think there is a lack of certain furnitures, because I did want the inside of the house to be red as well. For example, if you look at that room where there's the 2 TVs up top, you'll notice that I had to make do with what I had. For example, I had to use those red cushions on the floor and things like that, because I couldn't find a red sofa that would fit. So for example, they would have like a red chair, but that red is different from the red on another object, which is different from another red from a different object. And that really bugs me. I don't want to have, like, for example, a chair that's the exact same color as the carpet, but at the same time I don't want everything that's away from the carpet to be a different tone of red. And maybe that's just my pet peeves, but it bugs me a little bit, and there is sadly a lack of furniture. I do know that with events and things like that, they always will be adding more furniture, which is great, and hopefully not too many of those you have to buy. So let's go ahead and talk about the current room I'm building. So I did decide that I wanted to show off a little bit some of the things that I have, or some of the things I personally like. And for example, on the left you have like this little farmer's market with some of the characters that I got through crafting, that I unlocked through crafting. Of course, there's gonna be more things later on, like different tables and stuff. But as of now, I decided for that left side to be like a little market type thing, and the right side to be a alchemy experiment type table. And it worked really well with the wizard and things like that. So this is what I was talking about, guys. Let me just stop right here, that if you go down, you have to zoom in. And for me, while I was building, I'm not sure if it's because I was building for so long, but this was already a couple of hours in, and having the same floors and stairs everywhere was starting to bug me. Not now after I slept and things like that. I think it would have looked fine if I just kept that wood floor. I probably would have liked it more, and I definitely should have maybe took a pause or 2 steps to look back and kept it the same, especially the room that I'm going to change to wood. Can't say I was too happy with the wood room, but besides that, everything else looks great. I decided to use some glass in the bottom, and the alchemy room, I think it works. It's not anything special, it's just a random room with random things. You can't really do anything in there, but it works. Now here I did want to make it a little bit different than all the other rooms. I didn't want to have 3 identical looking rooms, right? So this is where the wood came in, and boy oh boy was this a mistake. If you're looking just at the room, all right, sure, it works. It would look good if everything was wood, right? But considering this is the only room that's wood, it just feels really out of place, especially when you zoom out or are moving in between rooms. And hopefully, you know, you guys don't mind too much, because again, I would have destroyed this and made a white room again at the end, but I was getting tired. This definitely took longer than I thought it would, and I am gonna have to redo everything, so I might as well just make a new build. So if you guys have any ideas for a new build that you guys do want me to do, it's gonna be for the main base, so I do sadly need it to be a little bit practical. You know, I need the farm and the house, and maybe some room for some teleportations to daily zones or to the mines and things like that. That would be great. Now, as for another problem I noticed, some of the kits, for example, doesn't have everything for free to play. So if you're gonna make a kitchen, you don't have a fridge or a lot of the food items, right? So you gotta work around that. Same thing with the bathroom. The bathroom, you can't, there's like 5 or 6 baths in the game, right? And not one of them can you buy with normal mezzos, which is really sad. No one that's playing free as of right now, at least not that I'm aware of, can complete either the kitchen or the bath. It's always gonna be missing something, and that really bugged me. You know, I figured that if you are gonna have the option for the person to make a bathroom or for the person to make a kitchen, at least have, it doesn't have to be everything, but at least one item. For example, one bath or one shower. Make a poor looking one, you know, like a broken shower or something like that, just so it can feel complete, which in my case, the bathroom is not complete. It's just a sink and a toilet, and no matter what house I do, unless I buy, it's gonna have to be a sink and a toilet. Same thing for the kitchen, and I'm not sure if there's other rooms like that. I think the other rooms you can work around it just fine. For example, let's see, the living room works well, the dining room would work well, and the bedroom works well. So I think, yeah, the rest is pretty much covered. I would just really like a bathtub or a shower and a fridge, you know. Doesn't have to be the ovens, but at least a fridge. And here's another thing that I noticed, right? I wanted to make white on black. I think white on black looks great. Whites, grays, and black, I think they match. My room in real life is with grays and whites, and again, a little bit of blacks, maybe some silver here and there. But on Maplestory, you will notice that there is a lack of things. For example, if you want to make a black room, tough luck. There's not enough black items or items of a certain color unless you're looking at an exact theme, right? So like, for example, there's this green bed with brown, and you might find other things that match with it, but either it's not that tone of green or it matches because it has the brown, which is the case with a lot of things that I noticed on the game. For example, if you want a brown room, this is the best I could do. The dressers look like locker doors. I think those are locker doors, or maybe something along those lines. But it's pretty much the iron items are the black, and that's pretty much the only black wood that I've seen in the entire game is the bed and the bookshelf. So the rest I just had to make do and work around it. Now here I wanted to find a place, considering this is the back of the house, a way to go down. So I decided to make a little secret room up where I would hide, for example, the valuables, and from there it would have a portal to the farm, and that's where the portal is gonna stay. At the beginning I was gonna make two, a portal to go up and then down, but since I wanted it to be a little bit hidden, unless the person like jumps or zooms out, they won't be able to see that room. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was clever at the time, but sadly we all know that the farm didn't work. I think that ideally, if I wanted to, and I might do that on my next build, if I want to have the farm underground or use the space underground, I gotta make the house, I'd say a block, not a block, but 2 blocks would be pretty much the perfect height. That way you could go down and zoom out. If this height, you can work with it, right? It's close, but it's not completely zoomed in, but it's just not far enough. You know, it sort of bugs me that it feels too close. It sort of gets in the way. So a block, or ideally 2. If it's 2, you might even be able to scroll out completely. Maybe not, I don't know, but 2 would be perfect. If you make it even higher, even better. All the more room to you. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the build, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. Again, I am super sorry for the late video. I will be trying to make different types of video. I probably won't be doing completely videos completely focused on building, because they do sadly take a lot of time. I'm enjoying it now, but once I have my main base and I want to be doing dungeons and things like that, especially with work, it's going to be hard to record, for example, a 5 hours or 6 hours videos, and at the end of the day still have to render it, edit it, record my voice over it. I end up wasting a good 8 or 9 hours, which is time that I could only do either on vacations or on the weekends. But I do plan to do a Berserker guide once I get a little bit higher level, that way I know more. But I've been looking into the builds, I've been testing things out, and I've been having a ton of fun. I hope all of you have been having a ton of fun. If you guys have any ideas for a new house or something along those lines, for example, you want it on water, which would be very hard because I have to pay to buy water blocks. But if you want for example, a house that's made of rocks, or maybe on a tree, perhaps you want it to be a dark or spooky theme, considering we're pretty much on Halloween. And happy Halloween, guys. Hope you all are having a great month, and that's pretty much it for me. So thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.